Happy February, everybody. It's the month that most of us cocoon and, maybe feel a little blue. And I have to say that I'm going to be as gentle as I can with all of my readings this month, starting with this one. Mercury retrograde. What can I say? February is basically, except for the last 8 days, is all Mercury retrograde. And of course, we also deal with the shadow period before and after. So you can pretty much consider February as the first official Mercury retrograde of the year. So I know you're excited. I'm probably going to have to edit this because I forgot my notes. This report and all of these reports this month are so huge. I'm so excited to get them to you all, but I'm a little scattered. Okay, so all is right with the world, and I have my notes. So, it's a big deal, February, for a lot of different reasons, but mainly, and before I forget, we should all be saying happy birthday to all of our Aquarius friends, because especially this year, because they're leading us into the new age, to a new paradigm. We need their innovation and their ability to see people and to see humanity and to see our potential. So happy birthday, Aquarius, and we're going to make your report extra special, not only because we all owe you a debt of gratitude, but because my best friend just happens to be an Aquarius. So, actually, I have a few friends who are Aquariuses, and they're all tight, There's something about the dynamic between Aquarius and Scorpio, and I'll tell you something, you can really help each other out. I know that I have received great assistance and support from my Aquarian friends, and for that I thank you. So as I move right along here into the astrology, we are, for all intents and purposes, crossing the threshold into the age of Aquarius. Like right now, everything has changed. But one of the things that's nice about Aquarian energy is that it's much lighter than Capricorn, because Capricorn is an earth sign. So while we're always appreciative of the kind of security and the kind of work ethic and strength that the sign of Capricorn represents, sometimes it can be, a heavy disciplinarian. It's all work, no play. Aquarian energies are going to be much lighter because it's an air sign. And, Aquarians tend to be sort of the quirky, cute little weirdos, who aren't afraid of, dressing up, clowning around, wearing bright clothes, picking out something really obscure in the crowd or in the environment and capitalizing on it for the group. So as we move into these changes, it's coming into our intellect as opposed to, shaking the ground, because, with other influences, which we'll talk about with Uranus and Taurus, another earth sign, the effects are different when the planets hit particular signs. So in Aquarius, we have this, what I've been cutely calling a planet party, but astrologers call it a stellium. So essentially we're just packed with planets and an asteroid and the moon. By the time we hit in between the 11th and the 15th, we literally have the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, and the asteroid Pallas. So that's a lot of activity. I didn't even get into Pallas, to be quite honest with you. I'm so sorry. I figured, I had enough on my plate. It's big changes that change everything. Anybody that you know who is an Aquarius is going to be lit up like a Christmas tree, and it's going to seem like almost overnight. Like, wow, what happened? Like, that Aquarius is like all twinkly and stuff, and bopping around and doing all sorts of good jazz. And, it's like we're noticing something different about our Aquarian friends. But there's a profound effects for everybody, because these planets, while they're in Aquarius, are in various houses in the rest of the zodiac chart. So with this is the gateway to a new age, but we also have to be really careful, because while it's light and airy, these patterns, when we go back in time, actually coincide with the rise of fascism. So we have to be really cautious about the dynamics of these alignments and the effects they have on politics and world affairs. So I have actually found some fascinating articles, and I've put links down in the description box so that you can take a look at it to see what has happened, because we're basically running on a spiral, and the cycles of our experience and our evolutions go through similar patterns with the planets, and those planets coincide with archetypical events and experiences in different ways that people have been recording for a long time. That is what makes astrology fascinating. Not necessarily because it's predicting our future, but because we can track our evolution in time based on the rhythm of our experiences. That's what I love about astrology. So let's start with Mercury retrograde in Aquarius. Get the really tough stuff over with first. Mercury retrograde, it's going to be just like any other Mercury retrograde, where you're going to have to make sure that you check, your email before you hit send. That you're going to have to, be patient with packages that are slow. Money, texting, misunderstandings, travel havoc, but hopefully you're not traveling necessarily too much right now. As you notice, the opening starts with stay in your bubble. It's a good idea emotionally, mentally, as well as physically right now to isolate, because it's pretty squirrely. So with Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, foot and mouth, but especially for Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius. Foot and mouth disease, it's, just be careful of what you're saying. Sagittarius, especially because Sagittarius, loves the truth so much that they speak it all the time, not realizing that not everybody likes it as much as they do. Here's the other thing. The forgetting to respond. I think one of the things that we underestimate in this isolation is that, the passage of time doesn't feel quite the same. And we all use text messaging and electronic communications very differently. So some of us, are not as attached to our phones and are more attached to other things, video games, or Netflixing, or obsessively cleaning, or laundry, or actually having a job that requires you to be outside of your home. Thankfully, the retrograde, it's just going to be like little minor irritations. Nothing that's really going to, hook you up too much. And while we're talking about Mercury retrograde, and it's essentially the first video that I'm putting out for the year. This is the first Mercury retrograde we have this year. We have 3. So Mercury retrograde for January 30th to February 20th. That's what this report is about. It's in Aquarius. It's about friendship. It's about collaboration. It's about future tech. So generally, this may be the kind of Mercury retrograde that does bring friends back from the past, and depending on whether it sits in either one of your partnership, it might bring back an old flame. You never know. Then we have May 29th through June 22nd is going to be Mercury retrograde in Gemini. So prepare yourself for that, Gemini, because that's your ruling planet. And sometimes Mercury retrograde can be pretty sharp for you. So be really careful. And again, these are times of the year that you're not going to want to start things. So the last Mercury retrograde period for 2021, as far as I can see anyway, is September 27th to October 18th. And that one is going to be in Libra. That's going to be stuff about partnership, relationships, justice, and balance will be the theme of that one. So, so the next planetary alignment that I want to talk about is Saturn square Uranus, which happens February 17th. This is part of these cycles, and this is a big deal. So it's a 14-year cycle, so you may, if you look back 14 years and you think about the kinds of things that were happening back then, you may see similar themes and have an idea what this might be pointing towards. With this particular aspect, this can bring change that you don't really want. It can also make tensions rise in situations, and when they do finally reach their boiling point, that's what creates the sudden change. So the best advice through these kinds of things, mark it on your calendar just to give yourself a heads up so that you know that you're dealing with energies, that could be potentially volatile, maybe not necessarily in you, but in the people around you. And of course, anything that you're repressing or stuffing down can actually manifest in the people around you. So you want to be very, very vigilant about the kinds of things that are being expressed around that time. And, just take a step-by-step approach to everything. If something really breaks down, some sort of crisis, where you're losing control, just be methodical and take it one step at a time in a chop wood, carry water kind of fashion. The other way that this can manifest is if you're a creative person, you may find that you're experiencing creative blocks at this time. So again, treat that in the same way as you would a crisis and methodically approach, where your blocks may be and how you may coax them back into your awareness, or perhaps there's something else that needs your attention so that your mind is free to allow that creativity to flow. In general, in keeping with this whole theme of what we're dealing with globally and politically, this is also a time where personal freedoms and rights may be restricted. And, this may also coincide with situations regarding the virus intensifying. So, make sure you stay in your bubble, folks. It's the one way that we can control the situation. This particular alignment is going to happen a few more times. 1, 2. Okay, so the last time that Saturn was square Uranus in this kind of alignment was in around 1999 and into 2000. So for us this year, it's going to happen 3 times. And so it's going to happen February 17th, June 14th, and December 24th. So Christmas Eve of this year. And then it doesn't happen again until 2043, where it happens 3 times. So, which is, quite common, you know, as these alignments occur. So, so there's that. It's important stuff, though. This is stuff that you can keep coming back to. That's going to help you make sense of things. Because, you know, if you're listening to it now and you're just kind of like, I don't know, I don't know. Well, if you get blindsided by something, come on back and listen to it again and see if it gives you some more insight, you know, as to how you can see your way through whatever curveballs get thrown at you. That's what I'm here for, is just to let you know that they might be on the way. Now let's hop back to February 11th, new moon in Aquarius. So, well, what do I have written here? It's definitely a hopeful new moon. So it's like, think of it this way. If you know in advance that there's a whole bunch of work to be done, take advantage of the energy when it's there for you, and realize that the oscillation between these two states of tension and inhale, exhale, it's contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion. And so when it feels good, feel good. And when it's time to feel the pain, feel the pain. And once you get into the rhythm of that, then it's going to be easier to navigate. And it won't feel quite so scary. So with the new moon in Aquarius, because this new moon in Aquarius is very far-reaching. It's not just for the month. It goes for quite some time. That this is the beginning of a new cycle where our focus needs to be more about the humanitarian interests, our community, and focusing on things that support that and help it to grow. We have to think outside the box. Brainstorming and socializing is a very good thing to do around, you know, anywhere between February 10th to, like, I'd say the 12th. Anywhere between those things, like, go for it. You know, book the time. It's a great time to book meetings. And this is also a good time to recognize the value of friendship and put your energy into cultivating those friendships in an authentic way. Less focus on the emotions. I mean, most of my Aquarian friends, you know, as sensitive and wonderful and big-hearted as they are, they don't really dive deep emotionally. You know, they like to stay, you know, over here, which is great. You know, it's Aquarians can teach us a lot about healthy detachment, you know, to not identify so much with our pain, you know, and that would be a really, really good thing for a lot of us to do. Supported by many planets, providing golden opportunities for progressive changes. So this new moon really is, you know, the launch of innovation, the launch of communication technologies, and yeah, like it's going to be very exciting. The only thing that we should be concerned about is that the energies from Mars could disrupt the flow at times. So don't make any fast moves, otherwise Mars will be on you. So just keep it steady. And the fixed signs are also going to be affected the most by this new moon. So, because Aquarius is a fixed sign, part of the stubborn crowd. So, the stubborn ones. Maybe that's what I'll... that would be very interesting. I could make it the stubborn ones, the indecisive ones, and the bossy ones. That would be good. Because, you know, nobody thinks about them as the cardinal signs, or the mutables, or the, what is it, cardinal, mutable, cardinal? Fixed, right. Okay, see, funny how I would forget fixed. So, yeah, so the fixed signs, the stubborn ones, are going to be feeling this new moon, especially so. also, but at the same time, it's like I feel a disarming quality to this new moon. We've got a big bear sitting down and waving all its paws. Can you imagine? It's like cute, isn't it? So, it brings grace, bringing grace to raw power. Because it's so sweet, and it is graceful. It's natural. It's authentic. Dangerous, but authentic and real. And not always dangerous. Sometimes just cute. If it's anything that you tried before and you're trying it again, bingo. And this new moon in tandem with Mercury retrograde also provides really fertile ground for second chances. But this is like the new moon for the age of Aquarius. It's all about stepping into the age of Aquarius. It's here. Be cautious. The last event that I'm going to talk about for the month of February is the full moon in Virgo. So the full moon in Virgo is very much a getting things done kind of energy. So, the hustle is on, you're preparing, you're networking, taking care of the details, all like up front. It's a schmooze fest, okay, for everybody. And if you're doing what you love, that's going to reward you with even more opportunities, because that energy is now multiplying. So it doesn't matter what sign you are. If you're really loving what you're doing, if you've switched gears as a result of the changes that we've been experiencing for the past year, you're going to be so supported by this full moon in Virgo. Everything's going to be illuminated for you. The path is going to reveal itself. And this is exactly the kinds of things where, luck is hard work meeting opportunity. Big time. The stress-related things that may come about with this full moon are things like health issues that have been put to the side, may come to the surface to be addressed. Generally, we're all just kind of getting comfortable integrating all of these new energies into our experience. This full moon in Virgo is actually going to be really romantic, and it's also going to be a fertile time for those of you who may be looking to add to your family. So, and if it's not something that you want to do to add to your family, then I suggest you take extra precaution. Crisis is bringing opportunity for healing, so that we can detach from it in a healthy way as we allow new feelings, as we allow new revelations, as we allow change into our personal experience and awareness, that we allow our perspective to shift in ways that it needs to in order to move forward. Because we're all working to be in harmony with the changes. And those things are being triggered by Uranus. So everybody's in there, everybody's in the soup, and we're all just going to do the best we can. And for this reading, this is general for the Global Village Collective, but and I'm going to step into the cards now, but there will be separate videos for each signs, and I do go into detail about how the astrology on those aspects, not nearly quite as long as what I just took. But, it's a big month. So please definitely check out your own sign. Sun, moon, rising, and these are general readings. So the extended readings have the love and career and work life readings in there if you should find yourself resonating with the generals. So for the time being, yeah, I am going to lay some cards out for the Global Village. And one thing that I'm starting that's new for this new Aquarian time is I have created a forum for conversations with me and my friends. And so basically have a little chit chat about various things that me and my friends are interested in that may have to do with holistic health, may have to do with history, may have to do with nothing at all. Just goofing around sometimes, you know? But I hope you'll join me. The promo is at the end of this video. And who knows, maybe we'll become friends and you'll join me on screen at some point. Because I'm inviting everyone to join the conversation here at Bon Echo. So, the first tarot spread that I'm going to lay down is 12 cards representing the houses of astrology to see the collective experience in those areas and what the common themes are for everyone. One last card. Okay, so the surrounding energies, generally overall, I don't mean to laugh, but you know, it's really an ironic kind of thing, but oh. Ten of Swords, that's dark. Dark night of the soul, folks. And I have to say that the one thing that I found in common in looking at everyone's astrology is that many signs are going through existential crisis. So, and there we go. In terms of our first house of identity, it's time to take a rest. Because as we come into new energies of a new age and leave behind old archetypes and ways of thinking, you know, we need to rest. We need to process. So February is not a time to be festive. So in the second house, when it comes to money, values, and the like, yeah, it's time to approach everything with humility. And it's a time to really know what you bring to the table. You know, instead of thinking, you know, what is this bringing to me? It's what are you bringing into the new age that's of value. And and the kind of grace that's required, clarity of thought, and a willingness to show up. In the third house of communication, be gentle. Be gentle, and this is a time to be emotionally available and to approach, you know, with your big girl, big boy pants on, you know, emotionally speaking. Wow. And in the fourth house, we have the King of Pentacles. So it's time to tend to all of those things that make you feel secure. And if you are the person that people depend on, and that it is your role to provide, and as well within your community, that that your family and home actually depend on your relationship with the community. In your 5th house, well, it's about coming into your power and demanding joy and sovereignty, that it is your divine right. Sovereignty and joy. And because the Emperor can also represent Aries, it's like, Aries is the one that starts the new journey. Aries is the infant. In many ways, we're all infants. And, the archetypes of, Pisces, the fish and water, to then ascending into Aquarius. So in the 6th house of daily routine, there's not a whole lot to do other than to sit and wait for your ships to come in. You can't see them yet. None of us can see anything yet, because we're focusing on this: sovereignty, empowerment, and the right to joy. Oh, attachment. We're healing attachment in relationships. This is the 7th house. Also, lessons about not being open. That it's time to be emotionally available in our communications, because we've been so blocked and defensive in our relationships. Yeah, a lot of family, ancestral healing, transforming. That's the work of the House of Scorpio. That transformation of the paradigm of family is occurring for pretty much everyone. This is fascinating. So that's 8, 9. Well, the 6 of Wands, which is success in embracing new philosophies and embracing the spirit of adventure, pursuing higher knowledge, and having great success with that. Well, there's a card in the McLuhan deck, which we'll look at soon. But it's like here comes everybody. The world is united at the end of this cycle. We're all walking across the threshold into Aquarius together. But McLuhan has a card that says, "Here comes everybody." And one of these days, I'm going to have my friend Bob in a conversation, and we're going to talk about McLuhan and "Here Comes Everybody." For those of you looking to learn. So in the 11th house, of course we are. This is more of a Taurus card, but it's very Aquarian in the dynamic of balance, and the role that each one of these people play in balance in our communities, and what's just, for those who have and those who have less, and to share it around, because next time around could be this guy here who's got all the money and this one who needs a hand. So, yeah. And the 12th house. Oh, this is wonderful. This is collective healing of the collective unconscious, is what this is. Moving from those dark and choppy waters into something far more calm, peaceful, and where we're really taking care of each other through the adversity, through the challenges. That's awesome. I love that. Very, very interesting. This is the dark night of the soul. We walk through it together. We process what we've repressed, let it go. Allow the energies of Aquarius to help us to detach from anything that's too sticky, that's gonna make us feel less than who we actually are. All right, so I'm gonna grab my Oracle of E deck, and we're gonna see what cheeky little saying you're gonna throw at us today. Ooh, the magic carpet. Of course it is. It's gonna, but before we can take the ride, before we get to go on the magic carpet ride, we have to pick up after ourselves. We have to clean up all the little rooms inside and make sure all the crap is gone. And then we fly. Okay. So, because lately I've been talking to my Aquarius friend Karen, and she's been learning hypnosis, and wow, is she ever good at it. I've already been part of her practicum, and hope to do it again real soon, like maybe even tomorrow. But she has enlightened me to something called the superconscious, and so I thought that in tandem with Marshall and his distant early morning card deck. This is a collector's piece, by the way, and it's one of my, if not most prized decks. So we're going to inquire with Marshall today with two cards. The energy of the universal experience. There's one. And then, here's where Karen inspired me. The energy, or the advice from your superconscious for the collective. I'll take a look at the bottom, maybe, or maybe not. So, the energy of the universal experience is anthropology is the study of man embracing woman. Interesting. Balancing masculine, feminine energies within, perhaps? Opening the heart. So what's the advice from the superconscious, Marshall? Let's see. Make sure it gets nice and... So cubism at a glance. Inner, outer, under, upper. So that's actually making me think of how you toast in Spanish. But I'm going to leave that with you for your interpretation. So thank you for joining me here. Stay tuned for the promo for my new web show, I guess. I don't know, what are they calling them? Conversations with me and my friends. I hope you find them entertaining. I hope they keep you company. We're just a bunch of nerds talking about history and the brain and stuff like that. Stay tuned for your personal report for February for your own sign. And I'll probably pop up live a couple of times here and there, and just keep on building, and I'll keep you up to date. And if you find that this resonated with you, please feel free to comment below, and we will see you again soon. Have a great February, everybody.
Uncle Bob, Robert Anton Wilson, a contemporary to Timothy Leary.
Marshall's like, amen, sister. Amen.
Right?